self-described extrovert, Alexis has spent most of her life being active and in great health. And in 2018, she was on top of the world, having just married the love of her life, Rob. Wanting to start a family right away, they were overjoyed when Alexis became pregnant just a few months after they were married. However, about 5 months into the pregnancy, on a routine visit to the doctor, they discovered protein in her urine, and further investigative tests led to the diagnosis that Alexis had IgA nephropathy. The news came as a complete shock to Alexis, who had had no real symptoms and had no family history of kidney disease. But she delivered the baby safely to term, and they had a healthy little baby boy named Hayden. Knowing that one day she would need a kidney transplant, Alexis and Rob desperately wanted to have a second child. So with careful consideration and working with Alexis's doctors, they were once again over the moon when Alexis became pregnant with baby number 2. So in December of 2020, Alexis and Rob welcomed a beautiful baby girl named Sloane. Unfortunately, what they could not have been prepared for was the dramatic downturn in Alexis's kidney health that followed Sloane's birth, and the path that this would put them on towards a search for a living kidney donor match for Alexis. Alexis, if we can go back for a moment to St. Paul's Hospital, directly after you gave birth to Sloane, you were placed on dialysis at that time. Did that mean that they were able to stabilize you?
No, I'm fortunate that I didn't need dialysis. We actually didn't realize it at the time what my labs actually were. And I think we found out maybe 3 weeks later that my labs were, basically I was on the verge of kidney failure, and the conversation had been brought up that was sort of the next step for me. Fortunately, my health improved a little bit. It's a funny thing to say when you're at the end stage of a kidney disease that I'm saying my health improved. It improved to a level where I didn't need dialysis right away. So we're very thankful for that. It didn't improve to a point where I'm never going to need it. I'm definitely looking down the hall at it, and that's why we're so actively looking for a donor.
Oh, so that kind of conversation that you had with your healthcare team, that's the route for you now. You need a kidney transplant?
Yes, yeah, I need a transplant. And the hope is that I avoid dialysis. Dialysis is tough on people at the best of times. I think being a young mom with 2 kids don't sleep through the night. So, even if I could do dialysis at home, it's just putting another weight on Rob, and Rob's carrying 99.9% of the weight right now. So if we can be successful in finding a donor and get me a transplant as soon as possible and avoid dialysis, that would be a dream come true for us, for sure.
So let's talk a little about this. This conversation would have put you on the path to look for a living kidney donor. How did you begin that process?
The doctor had suggested to us that it was not even suggested, told us that it was up to us to be our own advocates in finding a living donor. The process to find a living donor and the donor clinic is all very private, so we had to voice ourselves in a way that was presenting our story, but also educating everybody on what this actually meant for them and for us. I think we started with our immediate family knew what was going on. And then we figured it would just be easier to write a letter and explain ourselves in one place and the same story so that everyone really understood what was going on, and the message was clear. So Rob and I started our donor reach out by sending a letter to close friends and family, just sort of explaining the situation and what we're going through currently. I think it really came as a shock to a lot of people that we were in this position, because we just haven't seen everybody, and it's not an easy conversation to bring up.
When we found ourselves, coming out of the kidney clinic and with the news that we really needed to go out and find a compatible kidney donor, we were kind of at a loss where to start. And through the conversations with the support team through St. Paul's, they gave us a number of ideas and avenues that we kind of just adopted and tried to make our own. Certainly it was one of the tougher letters that we'd ever had to write. We went through a number of iterations, and frankly, it's never going to be perfect because unfortunately it scared a lot of close family and friends. And it wasn't our intent to scare people. It's just nobody quite knew the circumstances in which we'd been living in recent months. And it was a way of opening up that line of communication.
We were fortunate enough to get some media attention through local media, and that's really spread the word. And it's been absolutely incredible, the amount of people who have reached out just to check in or send food or just send good thoughts to us. It's been unbelievable.